Welcome to the third and final lesson of our audio effects. In today's lesson, we're going to take a look at the Essential Sounds panel. So this is where we left off. We made this tension using two different audios. We used audio effects to turn this sound effect and soundtrack in the back more creepy and perfect for this suspenseful scene. So now what we want to do is to start with a clean timeline. I'm going to use the same sequence. Then I will bring in this video. So this is a video of three people cheering with their beer bottles, but I want to make it look like the party was much bigger than what it seems here, and I can do that with some sound effects. So I will use this sound effect, which is in your resource pack, right underneath this video. Now when I play it back, this is what I get. So it sounds like there are more people around the three subjects, but it's not exactly blending into the room. So it's pretty obvious that I just kept an additional sound effect underneath this video. So we're going to be using the Essential Sound panel, which you can just bring in by going to Window and Essential Sound. This is what you will get. Let me just make this a little organized. Alright, so this is the Essential Sounds panel. So right over here, we have to assign a tag to each audio. So when I grab this one, you can see these guys are no longer gray and I have 4 options. So now based on the tag that I give my audio, Premiere Pro will give me some presets to work with. I just selected the video's audio, which as you recall was the... So this is considered an SFX, not exactly a music or a dialogue, but sometimes you can switch these up to get the result that you want. For example, this doesn't really have any dialogue, but I want some of the presets that are in the dialogue tag, so I'm going to choose dialogue instead of SFX. Once I do that, I can choose my preset. Let's take a look, and I will choose in a large room, because we are assuming that this is a party. I'm going to mute my other track. Let's listen. So that's what it sounds like. You can change the dynamics. I'm going to lower that. So I'm going to just keep this rather low, around this much. And then you can choose a preset down here. So background voice, intercom, and so much more. I think I'll go with background voice. Alright, we got some reverb going on. We can increase the amount, which is what I want because I want to make it look like this room that they're in is pretty big. Alright, once I have this, I'm just going to apply a denoise because I can hear some of that background noise and it doesn't sound right. And when you apply something in the Essential Sound panel, you're going to get a bunch of effects in your effect controls. So on this track, I have Studio Reverb, Vocal Enhancer, which we wouldn't need, Graphic Equalizer, Dynamic Processing, De-esser, and then we have the denoise that we just kept on. I'm going to denoise this. I can go with light. Let's try it out. Alright, it's good. Now let's work with our second audio. I'm going to choose SFX for this one, just so we can see the different options. For preset, we can do like from outside, in a large room, close-up distance, and so many more. I'm going to do in a large room because that's what we're trying to do here. So we can hear the reverb. It's quite big. If it's too much for you, you can just make that smaller. I'm going to choose make distant. I think I'll stick with make distant. Based on this, I can choose light reverb, outside reverb, room reverb. Room is the best one for my situation. Let's hear it. So now my SFX is blending well with my video. Again, when I go into the effect controls, we got studio reverb, and that's it actually. So this is what it sounded like before. Let me turn that off, solo this track. And this is what it sounds like after. So this is going to make it look more believable when you try to blend different sound effects. Let's see the before and after for this track. Solo the track. And turn off all the different effects. This is what it sounded like before. And this is what it sounds like after. Put together, they make a pretty believable party scene. So that's the essential sound. There are some other ways that you can use it apart from making different tracks more believable in your scene. For example, we can just do something else with it. Let me try to fix things up here. Alright, I organized my workspace. Now I can move on to the different things that we can do with the Essential Sound panel. So one of the things that you can do, let me get my other sequence. So one of the things that you can do is to take dialogue. I'm going to use the poetry sound here. Click and drag anything that you want in one of these tags. Then hit dialogue. And in the presets, I'm going to go for from the radio. Solo this track. Then go to preset. Once you've chosen dialogue, go to preset and choose, let's say, from the radio. Let's zoom in here and play this back.
I do not know who I am, yet I desperately want self-definition.
So it definitely sounds like it's from the radio. And if you want to see it before, this is what it sounded like before.
I do not know who I am, yet I desperately want self-definition.
So you can do some pretty cool stuff in here. You got so much more like podcast voice, intercom from the telephone, television. Let's try television. I'm going to make it louder.
I do not know who I am, yet I desperately want self-definition.
So yeah, with just one click, I can get these special effects. Let's go back to default. And depending on the tag that you choose, you're going to get a different result. So let me choose this one, for example. Change it from dialogue to like SFX. Let's see. Let's choose this one.
I am not well trained in smile, but always curious. I want to help others.
So your audio doesn't have to be exactly one of these things. You can use the other options for your audio. So this is not really an SFX, but I just used this tag to get this preset. Let's try ambiance. From outside,
smile, but always curious, who want to help others.
So it's really low and there's like a little bit of reverb, and it makes total sense. Let's try wide and deep. I'm going to increase the volume down here.
I am not well trained in smile, but always curious, who want to help others.
So it sounds like it's coming in from like a far off tunnel, just with less echo. Because we're on outside, but if you put it like inside the room or in a large room, the reverb will sound different. You can even add a wind effect.
I am not well trained in smile, but always curious, who want to help others.
So you're going to get a wind effect on your audio. Let me just clear audio type and get back my original audio. Alright, so those are the different things that you can do. You don't exactly need to have the type of audio to use its preset. You can just work with different presets no matter what type of audio you have. Another thing that you can do is when you have vocals like this, let's say this is a YouTube video right now, and I have my vocals, then I have my music. So instead of adjusting the volume yourself, make sure it's at 0 and you have no special effects. So instead of adjusting this volume myself, I can just drag all my vocals, go to dialogue, and then in the presets you can choose balanced male voice, which I did right here. Click reanalyze, and it's going to balance the volume throughout the timeline. So when I play this back, just pay attention here, and you can see the different volumes as we move forward.
I do not know who I am, yet I desperately want self-definition. I am trying to get us to abandon that terminology.
So instead of me playing this back over and over, trying to figure out if my volume is too loud or too low, I can just have Premiere Pro do it, and then I can just save time. Now let's do the same thing with music. Let's solo the music, and you can also grab the presets here. Just go to music. You can either go for balanced background music or smooth vocal ducking. We learned about ducking in the previous lessons, just we didn't see how we can get an automated option. So because I have vocals, I have to choose this one. But if I had like a track on its own without any vocals, then I can just go with smooth background music. I'm going to solo both of these layers and then listen to how it sounds.
I do not know who I am, yet I desperately want self-definition. I am trying to get us to abandon that terminology.
You can see that the music has been lowered in the sense that I can hear my subject speaking. You could of course click on the music and you can see the ducking. So duck against dialogue clips, which are the ones up here. If you did not tag them as dialogue, you can just select this button. But in my case, if I click this, it's going to duck here and then not here. So once you have that, you can increase the sensitivity, decrease it, add to the ducking amount, which is how much it's going to take away from the volume of the music when the subject is speaking. And then we have the fade duration, which is the fade from the unducked music to the ducked music. You can set them as default, and if you want to modify it yourself, you can hit generate keyframes. Once I do this, I'm gonna let it do its thing. I can just open this up and notice all of these keyframes. So when my subject is speaking, you can see that the volume has been lowered until they finish speaking. So this just goes on until my subject has finished speaking, and I didn't have to do this manually. So this is a crucial step that you need to take when you have music and vocals. As for SFX, which are these things down here, again, make sure that you have nothing applied to these tracks. I'm going to grab them all. Let's solo our SFX tracks, then grab them all together. Choose SFX, and you can choose a different preset for this. So if your video was shot in a room, you would want to add like some reverb. I'm going to choose outside reverb since all of my videos are shot outdoors. Let's hear what that sounds like. So there is the reverb that I need. And now when I play this back with all my other audios, it's going to sound a lot more natural.
Yet I desperately want self-definition. I am trying to get us to abandon that terminology. I am saying something inconsistent. I am speaking to a microphone, broadcasting my despair, but I hear no response.
So because of these highs and lows, the music almost sounds like a completely different thing. So if the ducking is too much, you can just select the track, come down here and reduce the ducking amount. That's going to pull the keyframes up, but of course you would have to generate new keyframes. So now you can see they were pulled up. This way I will not get that much of a ducking when my subject is speaking.
I do not know who I am, yet I desperately want self-definition.
So now the music has been lowered, but at least I can hear the music when the subject is speaking. You can do the same thing with these sound effects. You would just have to clear the type, go to music, and maybe have them set to balanced background music.
I desperately want self-definition.
So I can do that, but then I'd have to lower the volume here since I have ducking for the music.
Who I am, yet I desperately want self-definition.
And that is perfect. So with the presets, I save a lot of time. It's pretty fun to use and experiment with the different effects. And moving forward, you would want to use the Essential Sound panel when you're dealing with different types of audio. Especially when it comes to vocals and background music, you want to make sure that everything is balanced so that the audience can stay focused on your voice, and when your voice isn't there, they can enjoy the background music. So this is something that you need to practice with a lot. I just showed you the basics, but there are probably some loopholes out there that you can use to get the effect that you desire. So now that we're done with the audio effects, let's move on to the next lesson.